Must have been a great deal of fun to be Ty Cobb. Just the pleasure he took in life I found inspiring.
Hello, Mr. Cobb. Come on in here, meet the great Ty Cobb.
Fugitive Oscar winner Tommy Lee Jones hopes to continue his current winning streak with one of the most complex roles of his 24-year film career. The biographical drama Cobb takes an unvarnished look at the man many consider baseball's great player, despite his off-the-mound racism, abusiveness, and cruelty.
My entire life, I've been misunderstood. You are the very fortunate young sports writer who has been chosen to tell the true story. Ty Cobb.
Robert Wall co-stars as real-life journalist Al Stump, who's hired by Cobb to write his biography. At least the version Cobb wants the world to know.
He was the most successful sports journalist of his time, but suddenly he goes to meet this guy. And I compare it to a guy who's had like a couple of top 10 hits. You know, he's had a pretty good year, maybe a top 10 album, and he's feeling pretty cocky and sure about himself. And suddenly the guy says, hey, I'm Beethoven. You know, I'm Beethoven. Who the hell are you?
You're not treating me like a writer, you're treating me like a stenographer.
Finding and telling the truth was also the challenge of writer-director Ron Shelton, maker of such acclaimed sports-inspired films as Bull Durham and White Man Can't Jump.
Everybody I'd interviewed about Ty Cobb that knew him always said the same things. The first thing they'd say is, well, he was the meanest, and then they'd always catch themselves and say, and the smartest man I ever met.
I invented the damn game of baseball. Open the door.
His desire to compete and win and work at baseball, to cultivate an art, I found inspiring. The idea of being able to dismiss the unlikable part of his character and throw it away like so much trash, I found very appealing, too.
Shelton says Jones was the ideal actor to show the human side of this less-than-lovable man.
He also brought humor, oddly enough, because we both thought that humor could be the way we seduced people onto the trip.
I was delighted with his sense of humor. But when I say his sense of humor, I'm speaking now of Ron Shelton's Ty Cobb. I don't know if the real Mr. Cobb was very funny or not. I expect he was.
The man was the greatest ball player next to you of all time. Aren't you going to give Ruth credit for anything? He ran okay for a fat man.
Tommy also has, for many people, an fabulously intimidating but seductive presence. You know, the rattlesnake you love to watch.
You have never been this close to greatness in your short life, son.
And Robert is basically us in the room, counterpunching and trying to survive.
If you die before this book is finished, I'll write the story I want. I ain't gonna die before the story's finished. I'll write slow. I'll die slow.
He's like at the net hitting the ball, so I'm just hitting him right back at him. I just dug it.
Oh, by the way, your wife left these in my automobile last night. I thought you might want to take them back to her.
For Tommy Lee Jones, Cobb marks the latest bold step up to the plate after a series of movie hits, from his scene-stealing villains in JFK, Under Siege, and Natural Born Killers, to his Academy Award-winning turn in The Fugitive.
He's earned his credibility, you know, the hard way through one good performance after another. This is the first time, you know, anybody said, here's the lead, and it's a big lead, and it's yours, let's go. He's always had to either be the supporting role or the co-star. I think it's pretty obvious he can carry it.
Children of America need heroes, Stumpy. You know that.
Cobb, the movie, also asks what responsibility stars have to the public away from the spotlight. For Jones, the answer is...
None. I think Cobb is a role model, a good one. Because I think we're sophisticated enough to accept the virtues of our role models, heroes, and put the vices aside and leave them behind. I mean, we all love Thomas Jefferson. He had 53 slaves when he died. Come on. We have to put things in perspective.
You know, he was definitely a bigot. He was definitely a racist. He was definitely mean. He had mean side, but at the same time, he supported indigent ball players. He set up trust funds for poor Georgia children. He did a lot of other stuff.
And I have for years. It's not going to go in your book, though.
Oh, geez, Tito, why not?
Because it's embarrassing.
With every day that went by, I felt less and less threatened by the racism, misogyny, and bigotry, and more inspired by his achievements. And that was a pretty good journey to take. In a way, it's a bit like learning to love your enemy, which is not a bad place for an audience and a company of performers to go together.
How do I look?
Like the greatest ball player of all time.
This month on Cinemax.